mentioned a couple times on the radio show and then today, earlier, just wanting guys out of winning programs in high school and just kind of the intangibles they bring. Can you kind of expand on that? What exactly do you see out of
Yeah, you look, I bet, and I'm going to do a study, just we don't have that much time, you know, and but the correlation between a young guy playing early and a guy that's comes from a championship level program, that means he understands weightlifting and fundamentals of football and winning and the price it pays, the price it takes to go win a game and win a championship. Those guys usually play early. And, you know, you look at Kyle Berger, went to Ignatius, you want Dante Booker from St. Vincent St. Mary, and Ray Kwan from a great program. You know, those are the guys we're looking for. Sam Hubbard, you know, I mean, those are the guys you look for.
Far left, Matt.
You always talk about wanting to have speed in this class. Where does that come from, and are you feeling pretty good?
We're getting close. You know, we're getting Curtis Samuel's already on campus. We got right now Ezekiel Elliott, Curtis Samuel, and Dontre Wilson are kind of those prototype guys, or the hybrid type players we're looking for. Although really Ezekiel is more a pure tailback, but this Curtis Samuel guy is he's electric fast to go with Dontre. So we need a couple more. But that's Paris Campbell's another guy, should be one of the fastest kids in the state of Ohio. I think he's a 10-500 meter guy. So we're trying to, and obviously, get our speed up at the overall as the offensive skill. But we certainly have. From where it was 2 years ago to where it is now, much different.
Follow up also, I wanted to ask, do you ever have anything with a coach go through what Tom Herman did?
Tom Herman, that really didn't happen. It was only a 4-hour delay, but Tom likes to blow things up. And it's a fishtail. It gets bigger and bigger. No, it was 19 hours. And I told him, he'll tell the story, I think. Is he going to be able to talk to him? You can let him. That'll be funny. He got, I get a phone call in the morning, and there's Mark Pantoni, our recruiting guy, is just nervous, and, you know, I can't get a hold of Gene Smith, and should he leave the car? What if he leaves the car? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he says, 19 hours without food or water, and he's very delirious right now. And I said, Tom's always delirious. And so I called him up and I said, get a G2, which is a Gatorade, and one of those protein bars, and get to work. We have to go close Demetrius Knox in Dallas. And that's what he did. So I've never had, you know, obviously I'm being funny, but I've never had a guy go through that. 19 hours in a car stuck in traffic, so.
Middle, Ari.
Coach, going back to the last two quarterbacks, Braxton is, you know, right now, and Terrell were really highly rated guys in the recruiting process. Steven was kind of a guy that you handpicked. You analyzed him yourself at camps. What did you see with him that made you, you know, confident in making him the quarterback in this class, and what, you know, what is it about him, you know, maybe handing the keys over the program in 2 years to him?
Yeah, he's a development guy a little bit. You know, he's a guy that came in, incredible character guy, great size. He's here on campus already. A very nice release. He's got to grow into the position. You know, he's not, like you said, the Terrell or the Braxton, but you know, Alex Smith wasn't either. And so we saw a lot of attributes to him that we thought could turn into a very good player for us. So that's why we took him.
Kind of nice when you can get them into camp and just watch them and see. I mean, is that
you have to a quarterback, and we you know, a couple kids even in state wouldn't come to, you know, it's almost like a rule. We need to see you throw a football to take you, and nowadays kids are committing so early, you sometimes don't get that opportunity. So we've had to adjust our philosophy a little bit, because that was a rule. I remember when we recruited Tim Tebow at Florida. I mean, are you going to offer him? Yeah, we're going to offer him, but I need to see you at camp. Well, I'm not coming to camp. Well, I'm not going to offer you. And you get in those kind of conversations, and recruiting has moved up so far now that sometimes we're going to have to adjust, because we're offering quarterbacks now that I don't see throw, and I've never done that before in our career. But you have to, because the early offers are out. There's already kids offered right now for next year, which at that position you'd like to have them in camp.
Last two questions. Lori?
Coach, you talk about the principle of alignment, and you introduced 2 new coaches today. How much of that has to be present at the start, and how much is that something you can work on?
Well, I think when you said alignment, yeah, that's a great question. That's the essence of what we do, and essence of any successful organization is alignment, and to bring in, you know, to bring in new people. That the hardest thing when I was at Bowling Green, it was much easier. Hire these young coaches that really just they're bobbleheads. You tell them what to do and they do it. Where here you're going to hire Larry Johnson, 18 years at Penn State. He's kind of set in his ways, and Chris Ash is one of the more successful. When he was at Wisconsin, one of the best defensive coordinators, and one of those young up-and-coming guys that had great statistics. But we have those conversations. We're very transparent, very direct when I talk to them. This is the way we do things, but the nice thing is our staff likes to learn from them as well. We spent probably 2 hours of our meeting today in discussion about what they've done at Penn State and when they were at Wisconsin in recruiting. And so we're always learning from them. But at the end of the day, they're two very selfless people that was made very clear that there's a certain way we're going to do it. And the good thing is they came from programs that are very similar to the way we do it. They follow the rules, they do things the right way. Premium placed on academics, and we call power of the unit, and that's kind of the way they were raised in the coaching profession.
Just to follow up, does that principle apply to players as well? And if so, how do you ensure that throughout?
You can't ensure that. They're 18 years old, and you're relying on high school coaches' recommendations. And to answer your question, certainly it is expected in recruiting as well. It's much more difficult, just who you're dealing with.
Doug, last question.
Urban, you talked about wanting to win on a day like this. You guys just played Michigan State on the field in the Big Ten title game. Is it magnified at all when you're competing against teams like that for guys? I mean, obviously you went, Jamarco and Darius Slater were guys involved with both schools. Is that magnified at all, that competition?
Well, I think that the school you just mentioned is they're real, and I think they've always have been real. But I think we're nose to nose with them quite often in recruiting. If that's your question. We've got a lot of respect for the way they do their business, and that's an adversary. That's one of our teams we're nose to nose with right now in recruiting, and we don't win them all because I know we lost a couple too, but that's a real battle right now.
And you talked about the changes you're making on defense with having 2 new coaches in. You had 2 coaches leave. Did you think you needed new voices, that you needed to make staff changes?
I think so. I have a lot of confidence in the coaches who were here, and obviously we didn't perform up to standard. We won a lot of games. There were some holes. Very easy to blame players or blame coaches. It's just overall we need to freshen up our defense, and that's what's going to get ready to take place here in the next few months.
I'm sorry for the last one. We haven't talked about Braxton at all. Were you ever worried that? Did you ever think it was a real possibility that he would leave for the NFL?
Oh, sure.
And what was the discussion like that he wound up coming back for his senior year?
It wasn't very long. Braxton and his father, who's doing much better, by the way. He had some health issues he was dealing with. But Braxton and I have a very good relationship, and we waited till after the game. And I told him my opinion that he could become a very high draft pick if he continues to improve. And he said that's what I thought. It wasn't much more than that. And then we met together as a family and had a very positive conversation, and they made the decision. Never at one time to say, what should I do? Because I wouldn't tell them that's their business. But I gave my opinion as far as how much more he can grow as a quarterback. Thank you.